All right, welcome. This is Zero Power Jimmy Pablo doing another talking discussion, episode 27. And for this episode, I am going to be talking about, and this one's going to be kind of strange. I'm going to be talking about to get Mastercard, Visa, and activist groups to stop controlling 18 plus content. And the only reason why I'm actually, making this actually a discussion is for some reason when, what I have to say about here is this has been going on for a long time. That's kind of the point where these activist groups have been, always the one trying to control the system and thinking what's best for adults. That's what always they've been trying to do, and they always been doing it really well within drawings, within all these games, to trying to even influence with journalists. It's just been going on for decades now, and I'm just like shocked that it's gone to the point where it's getting overwhelmingly annoying for individuals who just want to just enjoy content for adults. So this was just recently, and I have to say this straight out, that for this episode, while I talk about this, I will be, doing more Marvel's Arrivals, so you can just enjoy that. But regardless of the situation, this has been going on for a long time, and ever since DI came through the door and then been shut down, this thing has been going larger with the DI before that was completely gone, and still whatever's remaining left, still trying to make breakthrough through against adult content. Now, why I'm actually discussing this is we as a community are recently been updating a penetration of support to help show many of our voices and making it loud and clear to be heard that we want these activists, including Mastercard and Visa companies, to just simply stop trying to control 18 plus adult content, to think it's what's best for adults over wanting to restrict us on watching, reading, or playing, whether it's a video game or just playing some sort of, anime things that's mostly for adults in general. Basically, things that you would consider just, putting down money just to play the game, basically, or play storyboard game, something like that. And it's getting to the point where they're abusing the censoring system enough that it's causing delay of payments to be rejected, to forcing companies like Steam to take out and restrict most of the games that shouldn't be there, that are mostly for adults. So this was just recently, and I'm just looking showing this article right now. Steam now bans games that violate the rules, standards of payment processors and banks. Completely because for some reason, and tells you right here, Steam had new guidelines that getting banned according to Auto Main. The new cause states that content that may violate the rules, standards set Steam's processing payments and related to card networks and banks or internet providers that are not allowed, with the result in removal from the platform. Not allowed. Basically, these banks and cards are telling Steam, hey, we don't agree with this. We don't like the fact that you're doing this, because is in other words, if credit cards get mad, is something that they could actually have power to get something mad. Basically, what I just said earlier, that they have the power to ban the game. And if they see that even though it's an adult content only, which means only for adults, they still don't want that to be there, and it does affect that, which makes the content creators not be able to put these games into a place where they want to make profit out of. So it's most likely getting pulled off from the platform, and these titles obviously in sexual themes, mostly interest in titles. Steam DB doesn't give a reason for these removals, but the timing does match up. And you could see right here from this tweet, it says Steam added new rules disallowing games that violate the rules and standards set for or by payment processors and network card networks and internet network providers. At the same time, many in-theme games were removed from the store. You could tell right here, a lot of these games were removed, and I think because the fact that they don't want, these type of games to be played. However, content that may stimulate streaming networks and banks. This is the most concerning one, and I have to show it right here. This is the most concerning one that I have to put, is when you look at this one right here and this content thing. This is the most one that I'm mostly afraid. It says consent that may violate the send of Steam processed card networks. There's in particular certain kinds of adult only content. This is the most worried about all of that right there. And the reason why I'm actually getting worried about that is, let me go ahead and, go back to the article. This type of thing that I'm trying to say is, if these cards providers, rather Visa, Mastercard, don't like what you're purchasing, they're doing their best to see if they can try to stop that purchase from happening. And basically, in regards to this, because those are my opinions, as the article continues to say that this move sounds unusual on its face, but payment processors have consistently fought against being used to purchase adult contents. These battles are typically on notation that adults only platforms don't have enough safeguards in its place against illegal content. They basically saying it's illegal, which obviously if the creator creates something for adults and they don't like it, they don't want to be on their purchases on their cards. So basically, and then Mastercard and Visa blocked the use of the cards on what we call P-Hub in 2020. Mastercard went further in 2021, adding language on its specific petition requiring that announced banks connect merchants to our network to certify that the seller of adult content is effectively controls and place to monitor, block, or where necessary take down all illegal content. So basically anything that having a lot of these dirty adventures, because the article goes on and on talking about. Now there's just one issue that we have to fight off to able to stop, because even though these titles go differently and goes all the way, this here's something that we have to watch out for, and this is the reason why I'm actually making this talking discussion video. Your credit card provider may prevent you from buying all of these adult Steam games thanks to the new guidelines, which could have a devastating impact when, let's say, you have a game what doesn't violate the rules, which is for adults, and you're just trying to play a game that's basically just like similar like Stellar Blade, for crying out loud. Like, let's say we just get a game like Stellar Blade, it has all this good looking outfits you want to buy, or outfits that look cool in the game, and then all of a sudden, since the Steam's new rules come into place, they might try to force everyone to get their refund back from those games, at the same time removing this game from their platform entirely. That could be a really big issue, which goes against our what we call consumers' rights, including the platform's rights, that the platform shouldn't abolish to this. Now, this is just only a single section, but the Steam players are worried how much power is being given to the payment processors, and they're getting really, really like in fear with this. While removing these positive steps of cleaning towards the storefront and short shelves and some of the more problematic games, as many Steam users have pointed out, it is unlikely to end there. The adult industry have been seeing pressure from card card networks in recent years. OnlyFans, which most people do, to comply requests in our bank, to partners and payout providers. This other one I don't know that much has been pushed towards, and our payment process partners, while Visa, Mastercards both stepped away from their expedited websites altogether. There's some examples and changes in Steam that are unpopular moves already, with fans decrying with its slippery slope to allow processing companies to dictate how other companies should run their business, with some fearing that Visa, MasterCard will want it all gone sooner or later. Others, like, you know, worry, I'm not gonna say that name, because their career history or education to mental health resources are already being declared adult content, and there could eventually be target. So yeah, this, I'm not gonna say this app is still, app is bad, don't go on that app. Stay on a different app like Threads or X than that one. That's not good. But I have to say this straight out. These individuals are fearing for the most as much as possible, and they know that this can end up going south. So at this point, out of this, it appears that how this could affect probably everyone, including gamers, is they can abuse this power into making sure the game is not having anything sexual, regardless of that franchise to the game, what it's presenting. They'll still demand that if the game's not consenting with its rules, it will demand the game to rather fix developers of that game to fix it, or be forced to have that platform remove your game. And mostly within Steam and Valve, which is not looking good with that case if that power does become abused. Because the system, like, it is easily to be abused regardless of the situation and regardless of the circumstances. It is not a good thing to just have, that kind of a power, knowing how abusing it can get, to the point where gamers or anyone in general could start getting, attacked, to the point where they can't even purchase a game or even have it on a platform over a company that doesn't want that there. Now, this is another one that's just been updated. Steam introducing new rules banning certain kind of adult content to please credit card companies, and this is really, in something in response that just barely happened recently. So in response to questioning from Aero Gamers regarding Steam's new guidelines preventing certain type of adult content from being distributed on the platform, Valve has provided some general background on events leading to the decision. We were recently notified from certain games on Steam that might violate the standards set forth by payment processors and their related card networks and bank. As Valve spokesperson told Eurogamer, as a result, we're retrying those games from being sold on the Steam store. Because of the loss of payment methods, we prevent customers from being able to purchase other titles and game content on Steam. The company will add directly notifying developers if there's titles that will impact new rules, and be issuing credit cards in case if there are other games like distribute on Steam in the future. So that was their update, that they said that their games slowly being impacted, and because the credit card companies of Visa and Mastercard are doing this, I have a feeling these activist groups are really like influencing, forcing them to take a hold on their viewpoint and try to stop the basically adults from the general from being too much openly free arms to get what they want, and trying to put more censorship and restrictions. And mostly these two Visa and Mastercard companies are applying to that for some reason. Like, they don't like the idea, because you can see the original story. It says on here how it all happened and how it went through as much as possible. I mean, here it tells you everything you need to know, what went through this and what led to this. And then right now, to find out more recent information regarding to this. So I have a feeling that because of the recent events that, and these are the recent events. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It started with the anime stuff from Japan, and you can tell that over the decade, Japan online from retailers on most of these anime sites have been having credit cards being halted, freeze, even issues with payments because card companies just didn't like this country's animes from being bought from their own use from their side basically, and so they just didn't know what these were until they got a closer looking at them, and that's what led to most of them just these banks blocking in Japan's from being all alternated, and there's like so many majority of this. It's been happening for quite some time since 2024, and the card companies have been getting really, really feisty for some reason out of the blue. Rather, there's been a change of commands, something in the tops that from after DEI decided to go in there and started making quick changes to see if they can stop the rhetoric, basically calling adults that want this type of content rhetoric, but they call us gooners. There you go. They call us rhetoric gooners from trying to, please ourselves with content that, it didn't feel right with them. And so I think that's what's, my guess is what's happening is they hire these individuals and their companies, and now they're trying to use their last effort resort to try to shut us down as, trying to control what's best for us as adults, which, in my opinion, when it comes to anime, let me be honest, we don't control that much in anime, but you can tell a lot of BS from this that, when it comes to cartoon stuff, we shouldn't be, as an adult, we shouldn't be doing something like that. From what now that, a lot of people that are adults are coming into knowing the situation, there is now a penetration of what you call when something like this gets out of hand, something like this gets to the point where people get fed up, adults most likely are fed up, resistance starts happening in play, and someone who got fed up created this penitentiary you see right here on change.org. And I'm gonna also leave a description for you those who want to support this. It's basically saying that we had enough of this game that these companies and activists are trying to do, and we want the controlling to be stopped, that it's getting out of hand. And the issue is that right here, and you can state, Mastercard and Visa are interfering with illegal entertainment, often under pressure from groups like, the concierge, some other random groups, and that they're also demanding to end censorship of fictional and have the right to choose the stories we would to enjoy without moral policy, something like that. And then it says right here, more of it. You could tell from all this that platform are censoring legal fiction content and books, games, films, artwork being demonetized or deplatformed. Not because they're illegal, but because they're often personal values of extra or activist groups, which this behavior is just overreach and blatant hypocrisy. They're getting upset. And it's also here that the same payments provide allowed platforms like OF to operate with minimal oversight and real S views content involving real life minors that is a criminal failure of responsibility. Yet when it comes to entire fictional description, these same companies act swiftly to shut down creators, restricting access and acting as global censors. It's just getting, to talk about the system abuse that they're starting to create, which is not in favor of a lot of adults here. And it's gonna continue telling you on and on what want to be clear to these individuals and getting it right to the point. Their clear is stated right here that it seems like they don't like the way that this thing is being operated, and they don't see that the fact that they people enjoy money, that fiction is not real, and that I don't know why they're asking why the fact that it's being censored. It's just absurd for them, and it's going be bounds. It's like it says bounds of the law, of course, etc. etc. So I already made demands here where they want the demands and they're asking for this. So the demands are they want to stop censoring illegal fictional content that complies with the law and platform standards. Number two, they want to reject influence from activist groups that promote moral panic or mispresentation fiction as harm. Number three, be full transparent about content restriction and naturally behind them. So they want, this one explains they just want you to have more reasons why you want to take this down, more reasons that why they don't want this thing to be there. What is it violating completely? And they don't want just a weird or bad excuse that doesn't make sense to them, because that's completely, getting rid of their own rights, which is number four, which is protecting creators' rights, which to make illegal adult content that ensures a fair appeal process for any polarized media, which means they want to just have it fair for them to able to make some adult content that doesn't have to force them to abide by this unlawful rules or too much censoring that's harming their game from making anything better than that. So they want freedom of, basically they want the freedom of to be able to make the game they want to make without worrying about, is this going to be harm, is this going to be a problem, is this going to be an issue that they're not going to like, knowing that they work so hard to make this for adults only. And that's where it comes in. Now, when it comes to young minors should not be able to look at this content or play it for regardless of any reason. If any parent out there is allowing their child to do something like that, that parent needs to get to see some parenting help immediately and be more restricted when it comes to that. Now, no child should be on a PC game that I know of, but if it does lead to a child going on a PC game, they need to be more on there and restricting most of their child. That's because that is something separate that should not be applied for the system to do it itself, because the system can only do so much, and to force it upon adults, it gets really out of hand. And that happened also back then with the YouTube thing, where we were not babysitters, that we showed YouTube, that we were not told of this. But however, they did had to explain to everybody that we just want the settings to just be manual instead and not have it automatically, because the automatic wasn't working no more, and it led to us getting into trouble. So these people, they diverted those people who were mad about that, diverted into those groups, the ones that actually forcing YouTube to apply them, so that way they can talk to them instead, which they did give their contacts them. So each of those people that are mad can give a clear out to each of those individuals who are mad, to talk to them directly to those individuals who wanted to change. And I believe that what I'm saying, all of this is, I think the same thing that needs to happen to whoever's in charge of running these Mastercard and Visa companies, that we need to talk to these individuals directly, so that way the people can talk to them and make some clear statements of what is best for our demands, that can come to a settlement and agreement from the people who are starting to sign this petition, and for the people who want not to have this system to be abusing, so that way it's fair for both parties. That way the business, how they run on Steam or Epic Games, whatever it may be on gaming platforms, doesn't get changed over these credit card companies abusing the sensory system over adult content. And that's why these activists, whoever is in there, needs to be let go, because DI is completely shut down. I don't know why they're still there. They need to disappear and get people with actual better skills who actually will protect creators' rights, customer rights, and most likely consumer rights. So that way we can have a more freedom and more open to knowing what's obeying the laws to be purchased and what's not being obeying the law that should be stopped immediately if it does do harm, rather for a minor or something that should not even be there in the first place. Because again, we have so many things I can talk about when it comes to the ways of how laws work, and whether it's in a different country or whether it's in the system. We could go on and on about that, but the most important thing I have to say for this episode is we just want to ensure that these card companies do not let activist group control what they think is best for these adults to have their influence on them, just so they can try to censor everything that's being watched, read, or played within what we as adults want to buy. So that's why it's important that we do have a way to get in contact with these individuals and speak to them that this needs to be stopped. This has to be stopped. So that's why it's important to support this penitentiary and get our voice to matter to them and be heard loud and clear enough that they will contact each and every, put it like a contact to contact each and every one specifically within their company, so they can actually talk to most of these individuals, because I think that might be the better course away, after we get our support going, because without our support it will be hard for us to contact these individuals if they think they still need to engage the people with more clarity, that we just need to be more understanding on both parties, so that way they'll understand why it's important for us as being a customer or a creator to able to have freedom rights and still be able to make adult content gaming, or being able to buy it regarding of what it will specifically be. So again, everyone else has their own opinions. You can even leave comments and your own opinions, but that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you again so much for watching this, and stay tuned for anything else, and I'll see you on another talking discussion episode from your Zero Pal, Jimmy Pablo. Thank you again so much, and bye bye.